Assalamu alaikum. Today's our topic is about A Passage to India by Edward Morgan Foster. In this video, we will talk about biography of author, introduction of the novel, summary of the novel, themes and literary devices. So let's start with the author biography. Edward Morgan Foster was born in 1879 in Victorian era in UK and died in 1970 in early modern ages. In her early life, he is a single child because his father was died and his aunt take care him as a guardian. He completed his matriculation from Tunbridge School and then takes admission in King's College. He decided to be a writer because of limited seats after liberation in college. He analyzed the human nature as well. So he started writing in the modern age. His famous work include Where Angels Fear to Tread in 1905 and A Passage to India in 1924. He is inspired by a Victorian poet George Meredith. His narrative style include third-person point of view, use of irony, chronological order, linear plot, realism and symbolism. He is the one who called himself a professor of nature because he thinks he analyzed perfectly the human psyche and nature. His works having the themes of colonialism, imperialism, racism, class discrimination, women empowerment and the exploitation of labor. Then I want to introduce the novel. E.M. Foster visited India 2 times. When in 1921 he went to India, he took a great response from the Indians. But when he went India second time in 1924, he criticized by India because he is a homosexual and because of his homosexual context. Then we will talk about the title significance. E.M. Foster borrowed the title from Walt Whitman's poem Passage to India. The plot of The Passage to India is that in the novel initially we meet with two characters, Mrs. Moore, Mrs. Adela, who want to see the real India. Then there is a city magistrate, Ronnie, and the governor of Chandrapur, Mr. Turton. The setting is a fictional city, Chandrapur, and also the India at the time of British Raj. The novel Passage to India is published in 1924. The novel is divided into three parts. The first one is the mosque, which is a rising action. The second one is the cave, which is a climax. And the third one is the temple, on which is a falling action. So let's start the summary. The story started when Miss Adela and Mrs. Moore come to see the real India from England. The governor of Chandrapur, Mr. Turton, is with Mrs. Moore and Miss Adela. When they arrive, Indians are curious and warmly welcome them because the Indians are willing to accept the superiority of Britishers and inferiority of themselves. At the same time, a young Muslim doctor, frustrated by poor treatment from English, Aziz and two of his educated friends Hamidullah and Mahmood Ali holds a conversation about whether Indians can be friends with Englishmen in India or not. That night, Mrs. Moore and Aziz meets each other while exploring a local masjid, and they become friends. Mr. Turton governs a party so that Adela and Mrs. Moore meet Indians, where Adela meets Cyril Fielding, principal of Government College, so Fielding invites her and Mrs. Moore to a tea party with him. The Hindu professor Godbole and Dr. Aziz also invited on the tea party. At tea party, Aziz and Fielding becomes friends, but environment becomes unfriendly because of Ronnie. Then the cave scene begins. At the tea party, Aziz invites all of them to visit Amarabar caves. Fielding and Godbole miss the train and Aziz continue travel along with Miss Adela and Mrs. Moore. In caves, Adela asks a question about Aziz's wife. Dr. Aziz become irritated and Miss Adela quested go from the caves and accused that Aziz tried to seduce her in caves. Returning from caves, Aziz was arrested. Fielding and Mrs. Moore believes Aziz to be innocent. Mrs. Moore is miserable due to the echo of the caves and died on the way to England. After some time, Adela declares that Aziz is innocent and she has made a mistake. After the releasing from arrest, Aziz thinks that Fielding and Adela become friends and the friendship of Aziz and Fielding suffers. Then the falling action starts from a temple scene when after 2 years Aziz meet Fielding in the temple, where Aziz come to know that Fielding's wife is Stella Moore. And in the end, Aziz and Fielding walking and talking Fielding say why they cannot be friend again. Aziz says that when the sky and earth no meet, we cannot be friends. Here Aziz described that until or unless Britishers rule over us and we are colonized, so we cannot be friend again. There are several themes in the novel, that is colonialism, racism, class discrimination, friendship, resistance, identity, Oriental versus Occidental, and prejudice. Colonialism is present because it is the time of British Raj in India. Then the theme of racism and class discrimination present between the Indians and the Britishers. The theme of friendship is present between the Fielding and Aziz. The theme of resistance identity is present in the character of Fielding, that how he resists against the society of England and favors Aziz that he is innocent. Then there is a theme of Occidental and Oriental. Here Oriental mean inferiority and Occidental means superiority. For example, in the novel that Britishers feel that they are Occidental and treat Indians as Oriental. The theme of prejudice is present in the character of Adila against community and the prejudice of Aziz against Britishers. There are also a literary device symbolism is present in the novel. Here Mosque symbolizes unity of two different communities, equality and goodness. The second one is cave, which symbolizes complexity, darkness, evilness, and the echoes made by the Britishers. The third one is temple, which symbolizes the reconciliation of two different communities like Britishers or Indians. I hope you people understand, but if you have any questions, so ask in a comment section. Thank you.